Well, early on in jiu-jitsu, I realized that one, it's a combat sport, and two, jiu-jitsu is very difficult, not just in learning the practice of the martial art and the techniques and the value of the techniques, but it's also really difficult and really hard on the body. We're always trying to manipulate someone's body in a way that they're going to submit or relinquish the fight to us, forfeit. And sometimes, as our male ego in particular, but egos in general, get in the way, we can find ourselves in a position that we believe we can get out of or escape or save ourselves, and we don't. In one instance, I tore my ACL, which was the first major injury I had in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was a blue belt. This was roughly 1999, 2000. And I kind of felt defeated because after I had torn my ACL, I really didn't know where I was going to be taking Jiu-Jitsu. And upon talking to my brother and someone that I confide in quite a bit and trust with really every ounce of my being, I had spoken to him, who is also athletic and very competitive, and addressed that I might be done. And my brother had said to me what a lot of other people say in a lot of other ways, you know, that there's only two people on this planet. And of course I was waiting, thinking, oh God, I wonder what I'm going to hear now. But those two people are the only two people, and he is absolutely correct. The two people that are on this planet are copers and quitters. You're either going to deal with whatever issue that you have set in front of you, or you're going to turn your back on it and walk away. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in particular tests that every single time you get on the mat. Every time you get on the mat, it's hard. Every time you get on the mat, you can get hurt. Every single time you get on the mat could be the last time you think you're going to get on the mat, if you're a quitter. But if you cope, you really don't care. All of the aches and pains, all of those injuries that you sustain, every time you end up in one of these positions that you walk away from the gym sore, tired, and questioning yourself, you also realize that you're not a quitter. I'm coping with this. I'm going to find my way through this until the end, which is your end. If you're really in jiu-jitsu, you're in it for forever. You should be in it. There is no end. No belt is going to be the belt that has gotten you to a point that you now can give up or quit. When I promote guys to black belt, I always tell them, you were supposed to quit. And it's because I've had that happen in my life over and over. You watch guys start out at white, it's hard, they quit. A lot of guys get a blue belt, they quit. It's like their life achievement. Oh, I got my blue belt, they quit. You know, you can go all the way to black belt and quit. The problem with martial arts and jiu-jitsu in particular is it's a perishable skill. So if you quit, so does your skill. The skill set goes down. Your level of self-defense goes down. Your practical application of the martial art goes down. It doesn't get better because you got a belt. It only gets better because you don't quit.
I love that. Are there some specific, we're talking about this in terms of a piece that we're doing on, you know, blue belts quitting, because that's the most common. But what are some practical applications that people can use to move around injuries, or, you know, let's say I do get injured and I am coming off a big layoff. I don't want to go back on another layoff. What are some real life things that people can do, depending on obviously severity of injury, to stay on the mat and keep working?
When injured, what I typically gravitate toward first is rehab. I want to start to assess myself and understand that something's wrong, and I'm going to have to address that. But to keep me in the game, the first thing I can do when my injury is most severe is come in and watch. Coach people when they're rolling. Even if I don't know much, just trying to help out is teaching me more. Sitting watching technique and going through the technique with just my eyes and mind can start to balance out my mind body and my primal mind. You know, we have two brains, and our primal brain is really what's learning jiu-jitsu. We're learning a body mechanic. We're learning a martial instinct. And that martial instinct is built off drills, which would be the next step as I'm starting to feel better, coming in and constantly staying in by watching and participating with only advice or coaching or just being quiet and observing. But once I'm starting to feel better, then I want to get back into drilling. I want to start using my body with that new injury to see how I can work that injury or what limitations that injury is giving me. In some cases, I might surprise myself and find that I don't really have that many limitations. I'm just in my own way. I'm so concerned that I might get hurt again that I'm hesitant to go out and test myself. And testing yourself doesn't necessarily mean I have to put myself in the most extreme situation and pick out the most aggressive person in the room and decide that I'm going to roll with them to see how my injury holds up. That's the wrong way. Instead, I want to pick out the most experienced person in the room, and I want to address that injury. I want to let them know ahead of time, because they don't know necessarily that I'm injured until I tell them that, hey, I have this injury, this has been a limitation, and can we work together around it? Whether that's drilling, flow rolling, or even rolling lightly. If I don't go out and actually be honest with myself and with my training partners and say, hey, I got this hang up and it's bothering me, then it's really no one's fault but my own for continuing to have that hang up. But also, if I just sit at home and think that I'm just going to wait it out and I'm going to get back in when I feel better, I'm going to realize that, one, my skills have diminished, and two, it's hard to get back in. It's really hard to get back in when I've taken that time off. In fact, a lot of people, when they say, hey, I'm going to take some time off, I usually warn them, you're probably not coming back. Coming back to jiu-jitsu is hard. Your body remembers that first day back. Oh God, this is like my first day all over again. Although I have developed skills and have a better understanding of how I'm going to defend myself, my body has forgotten the pain. My body's forgotten those aches. My body is now reminding me again, all over again, that this is tough. So it's best not to take that time off, but stay involved. And being involved doesn't mean I have to get on the floor and roll. Being involved just means I have to be there. I have to be a participant. But also being involved is helping my jiu-jitsu community. The guys that I'm training with need me there too. And just being there sometimes can encourage those other guys when they have an injury to do the same thing. Hey, Mitch came in, he sat around when he tore his ACL. He helped people when he couldn't roll, helped them get better at rolling. So maybe that's my responsibility too, now that I've hurt my shoulder. I need to go in, and although my arm is compromised, I can tell people, and I can drill and work with them to make my game better. And then as I feel better and as I can start to roll again, I've only sharpened the spear. I didn't go home and just put it away.